Happy Saturday, everybody. I'm Bernie. This is Britt, and today we're going to tell you about Bing. So it's the killer bees today on Small Business Saturday. Stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss this. All right, like we said at the top, today we are going to be telling you all about Bing, its differences between that and Google, and when you should really consider using it. And today, to help us learn a little bit more about this, I have our senior in-house resident expert, creative, all things, Miss Britt Rawcliffe. Britt, thanks for being here today.
Thank you, Bernie. I'm aware of many hats.
Yeah, aware of many hats, Moss hats.
Yes, many hats.
Many hats. No, seriously, Britt, thanks for joining me today because we're going to talk about Bing. There's a lot that we've been covering recently in terms of like Google Business Profiles updates. We touched a little bit on Bing Places. And we also talked a little bit about KPIs and what you should be tracking. Actually, we talked a lot about that because it's very important. But a lot of times people do things where they build out ad campaigns just on Google, and they really don't consider Bing because Google is the big player. Make no mistake about that. Mm-hmm. But Bing really does come in handy sometimes, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Bing, I'm going to consider Bing the unsung hero of the search engine world because Bing is really a huge player, even though Google is so far ahead of them.
Yeah.
But there's really a lot of potential that Bing has.
Yeah.
And for a few different reasons, too. So for a lot of companies that have like home services or you have an older demographic, that's the key, right?
Yeah.
Older
and
demographic.
When you look at analytics, too, for Bing, when you see stuff like that, you're going to see that people who are a little bit older, not long in the tooth per se, but people that are a little bit older, they do use Bing because they don't change the browser a lot of times in laptops they buy, right? And that's the other thing, too.
Default one.
Yeah. Speaking about laptops, your desktop traffic, if you're heavily dependent on desktops or that older demographic, you might want to consider using Bing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it's a default browser, and they're sneaky like that, but it's definitely a way that they don't know anything else. That's what they're using, and Bing works for them.
Yeah, when you're thinking about Bing ads, too, you got to remember there's also that other little sneaky platform local to us that people are really falling in love with, DuckDuckGo. Because DuckDuckGo is...
I forgot they were local.
DuckDuckGo, I know, right? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
That they're an affiliate of Microsoft, right? Mm-hmm. So when you're running ads on the Bing network, you're also hitting like DuckDuckGo people too. So and when you start looking at analytics, especially if you're in services or if you're in something local and you're dependent on like your local area for your business, when you start looking at that, you're going to see over the last year, I guarantee it, Bing is going to start crawling up in terms of how many people came to your website year over year, and so is DuckDuckGo.
100%.
Yeah, so you want to really think about because everybody talks about the Google network, Google, YouTube. There's untapped stuff out there on the Bing side. DuckDuckGo, Yahoo, all these other different
AOL
places.
too.
AOL.
They have a whole bunch of different ads on their network.
People, there's a lot of different places people go. And a lot of reason why people stay in those places, they go to those places to begin with, is because they don't know any better about switching. You know what I mean? They don't know really where they should be going or turning to when they're looking for something online. So that's why it's really important to consider Bing. And think about this too, not to drag this on any further, but you have Apple Maps, right, which also ties into Yelp, and then you have Bing Places. There's so many different things that you really need to be considering when you're doing things online. So when your marketing agency or your people that you're working with say to you, get creative, these are some of the ways that you can get creative by just looking at untapped stuff, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I will also say, too, Bing is really good because they actually are cheaper cost per click, cost per lead acquisition than Google.
100%.
So if you have a smaller budget or if you know that your audience is shifting more towards that older demographic, then put more money into Bing because your competition is not going to be nearly as much, which is why the costs are lower. But that audience is there. It's an untapped market.
100%. So I think that about wraps it up for us here today, everybody. If you're looking to do anything better online or get creative, take a look at Bing. Take a look at, DuckDuckGo. Take a look at Yelp. Take a look at Yahoo. Take a look at these different places where you can have some other potential and try it out. Give it a shot. Export your campaigns from Google Ads. Put them into Bing, all right, and see how it goes for you. And remember, it's going to be cheaper for you, too, and there's still opportunity there. And remember, if you have any questions at all, give us a call here at 1SEO. Myself, Britt, Jill, Paul, Josh, Bill, anybody out there, Lance even, we'll be happy to talk to you about your business, all right? So we will see you next Saturday, everybody.
Bing bong.
Bing bong.